Maybe I'm alone here, but I always thought this would be a really fun concept for a video, and I finally decided to do it. For those who don't know, there's this account on Twitter called @FreezingColdTakes, which pretty much makes fun of fans, analysts, or whoever for being hilariously wrong about their sports takes. Not long after though, the account they already knew came along, which is basically the opposite of Freezing Cold Takes. So my idea for this video today was to find the most bizarre and oddly specific NFL takes that somehow came to life in recent years. Number one is pretty recent. It comes from a guy named @David Zaslav. As on the night of September 11th, 2023, about 2.5 hours before the Jets kickoff in their home opener, Zaslav tweeted, "Aaron Rodgers is going to tear his Achilles on a rain-drenched MetLife turf in about 2.5 hours." And I mean, this one's pretty depressing obviously for anybody who's a Jets fan or just likes Aaron Rodgers, but this is too oddly specific for this not to be mentioned. We all know what happened on Monday Night Football in Week 1 this past year, with Aaron Rodgers running out of the tunnel to Thunderstruck and a roaring Jets crowd, but the much anticipated debut did not go so well, as 4 plays in, just like David predicted here, Aaron Rodgers was sacked and his leg dug into the turf and his Achilles gave out. It may not have been exactly 2.5 hours after that tweet was sent off, but he was actually just 6 minutes off. The Aaron Rodgers injury occurred 2 hours and 24 minutes after this tweet was made. And oddly enough, this account is no longer active. It seems like he got suspended after this tweet was surfaced. Maybe next season David can say something like Aaron Rodgers is about to have 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in Week 1. Maybe that'll work. Number 2. This next one is not too football related, but once again, it's another crazy coincidence that needs to be highlighted. On October 15th of 2023, an account called @EndZoneEdwards tweeted, "Derek Carr just said, 'Kill, kill, kill. Someone stop Chris Olave from driving for the next month.'" So this was made on October 15th once again. 9 days later, on October 24th, Chris Olave was arrested for suspicion of reckless driving. I'm not exactly sure what the correlation was when tweeting this, other than the fact that Derek Carr was the quarterback of Henry Ruggs, who of course had his unfortunate incident behind the wheel. Thankfully, Olave's mishap was not as damaging as to what Henry Ruggs did a couple years prior. Olave reportedly went 70 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone, and he got shut down by a cop on the scene who was not impressed with Olave's professional football status.
I play for the Saints, man. And?
For number 3, we're going back in time a bit here. It took almost a decade, but this one eventually came true. On August 31st of 2015, the account @WhatTheDread tweeted, "Definitely some beef between RG3 and Jay Gruden." At this point, Jay Gruden of course was the coach of the Washington Redskins, and RG3 was in a quarterback battle with Kirk Cousins at that time. But it wasn't until the past few months when the beef was really brought to light, as both went at each other on social media on multiple occasions. Gruden took over as Washington's head coach in 2014 and overlapped with RG3 for 2 seasons. As we know, RG3 could not stay healthy nor play well in 2014, and in 2015 he was benched for Kirk Cousins. The beef on social media took place in January when Jay Gruden made a point about the Eagles' pass protection for Jalen Hurts during their wildcard loss this past year to the Buccaneers. The back and forth started out somewhat civil, but Jay Gruden brought it to a personal level and soon deleted the tweet. Gruden's tweet that crossed the line said, "You weren't good enough. Kirk was better. Cleveland didn't want you. Baltimore didn't either. Quit blaming me." It's not every day you see a former coach and player beef on social media, but this tweet from 2015 was eventually spot on. This next one is actually crazy as we get to number 4 now. In June of 2017, Carson Wentz was entering his 2nd season in the NFL, and Nick Foles was the clear backup, and the Eagles just went 7-9 the year prior. But somehow this tweet from June perfectly predicted what would happen 8 months later in February of 2018. The account @O_Stanley_ said, "Had a dream Tom Brady lost to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl, LMAO." It not only took the Patriots making the Super Bowl, but it took the Eagles being good, Carson Wentz to tear his ACL, and Nick Foles throwing for 373 yards in the Super Bowl to beat Tom Brady. It'd be like someone today tweeting, "I had a dream that Mitch Trubisky beat Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl," and having that come to life. What would cause someone to dream such a crazy scenario before it even happens? I don't know. On to number 5, and I mean, this guy should probably be an NFL scout after this tweet was made. Brock Purdy was 16 years old when Trent Hagel proclaimed he would make it to the NFL one day. The account @thegel81 quote tweeted somebody on October 22nd, 2016 of what looks to be a high school stat line from Brock Purdy of him throwing for nearly 400 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. This account went on to say Brock Purdy is going to the NFL, mark my words. Purdy had not even committed to Iowa State for another year and a half at this point. In 4 years at Iowa, Purdy had a solid collegiate career, but his smaller size and average arm was not too desirable to most NFL teams. So much so that 261 players were drafted before him in the 2022 draft. His career could have went nowhere, and this wild prediction from 2016 would have never came true. But Purdy did more than just make it to the NFL. He's been a starter now for about 1.5 years, putting up a 17-4 record and making the Super Bowl this past season. We'll see what the future holds, but Purdy has at least proven he's a very capable NFL starting quarterback. That's gonna do it for this video of wild NFL predictions that came to life. If you guys like this concept and maybe want a part 2, or maybe want the opposite of the worst freezing cold takes of all time, then let me know in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.